There are several different ways to create a constraint. Dimensional constraints are very straightforward in their creation. You create them just like you would a dimensional annotation. You draw a line, then you create the dimensional constraint. Geometric parameters can be that straightforward, but there are so many of them that could apply that you may not know exactly which ones are correct. So you can create them one at a time, keeping it very simple, but that can be a lot of work if you want to fully constrain your objects. Now, there are two other ways to apply several different geometric constraints on mass. Let's start with a blank file. We'll use our AutoCAD.dwt template file again. One way to use constraints or to apply them is through the Auto Constraint button. That's right here. So if I have a rectangle, I can use the Auto Constraint, select everything I want to constrain, and press Enter. You can see it's fully constrained. Here, these two lines are parallel. Same way with these two lines, they are parallel. This one is locked in as being horizontal, and this corner is locked in as being perpendicular. Now this fully constrains this shape. If you want to add these, you can, so that you can only constrain some things at a time, like the horizontal constraint. So you select the constraint you wish to apply, then you follow the on-screen instructions. Select an object, preferably a horizontal one, and so now it will be horizontal. So whatever I do to this, it's always going to be horizontal. I can apply the perpendicular constraint to this object, and you'll notice AutoCAD automatically changed the rest of the line work to comply to it. So you have to be careful when you do that. Another method is to turn on inferred constraint options. It works just like toggling the ortho or OSNAP command. You may need to go to your customization here so we can find it. And if you do, look for the infer constraints. Left click on it, make sure it's checked. And in your status bar, it can be found right here. Right now it's turned off. Now I'm going to turn it on. When I draw a rectangle, you'll see that it has applied my constraints. Now, it essentially has the same constraints, but it's a little bit different. It's applied them slightly differently. That's okay. It gets the job done. That's probably one of the easiest ways to do it. You'll see that there are some slight differences, and that difference might not be so big sometimes, and sometimes it might be exactly the same. It's going to depend on exactly how the objects are made. So if you want to delete constraints, though, you can. You select on one of them, and you right-click, hit the delete option. Now, if you select it and hit that little X, the constraint didn't go away, it's just been hidden. So you can say show all right up here and it will bring them all back, or you can hide them all. Or you can click on the show hide and you can select objects that you want to either show or hide them on. So you can do that. Remember, the dimensional constraints are very straightforward. You have to apply them one at a time. You just have to be careful on how you create them and that you create them correctly. Like in that example, I picked the vertical, but I picked the horizontal line. Well, I can't apply that. It won't let you. So that's another nice thing about constraints is that if it can't be done, it'll tell you, say, hey, you can't do that. But that's how you apply your constraints to your geometry.